first place. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Rabbi Michael Barclay, author, international speaker, and host of the new CRN show and podcast, The Rabbi's Table, Dialogue, Not Debate. Rabbi, it is an honor to have you join us on the show. Welcome.
No, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the good work you are doing to make the world a better place.
Truly appreciate it, sir. Let's talk about Iran. And in this case, most people know that Iran is an Islamic regime, but perhaps they don't really understand what that means or what Islam really is. And so what I'm hoping you can do, and well, not only Islam, but I should make mention of the Quran and how it's different from Christianity and Judaism. In 30 seconds, can you explain what people really need to understand about Islam in order to understand Iran a lot better?
Sure, in 30 seconds. So the Jewish scriptures, the Old Testament, the Hebrew scriptures, the New Testament, the Christian scriptures, the Hindu scriptures, the Buddhist scriptures, these are all texts that are about deepening your relationship with God. How do I deepen my relationship and my awareness of God in whatever form, whatever pathway? The Quran is not. The Quran, if you really analyze it, is a business plan to create a worldwide caliphate run by Sharia law. In other words, to be theologically Islamic, to really be an observant Muslim, you need to be committed to creating an entire world of observant Muslims. Anyone who is not an observant Muslim is considered a kafir, is considered an infidel. In other words, a Jew, a Christian, a non-practicing Muslim, the people we would consider moderate Muslims, are actually called infidels. And the only three things you can do with an infidel, according to the Quran, is convert them, enslave them, or kill them. So whereas these other sacred texts are about God, this is actually about a business plan to create a worldwide domination. When you realize that that is what is running it on, that's what the Ayatollahs are about, that's what the mullahs are about, you recognize that whereas we are looking for peace and prosperity, they are not. They are looking for worldwide domination in whatever form. We view this as a 6-week war. If we go back to October 7th, the 2.5-year war, they view this as a 1,400-year war, of which this is only the latest battle. I hope that helps a little bit to understand Islam in context and traditions.
Well, speaking of that, we know that the war definitely continues, or at least somewhat of a ceasefire and or pause. And so with that being said, a lot of pundits are now saying that this is really Israel's war, and we being America, should not be involved in the war against Iran for Benjamin Netanyahu. And so I'm curious, your take on that, sir.
So anyone who thinks that is actually ignorant. They're ignorant of geopolitics. More importantly, they're ignorant of theology. And I look at the world through a theological lens. If you go back to the idea that there's the goal of creating a worldwide caliphate, a worldwide Islamic empire, then we understand that there is no halfway point. They're not looking for the same thing. This is a war against Western civilization. It's why Israel is called the little Satan, America the great Satan. Israel is the first line of defense for all of Western civilization, and America's last line. And they're very clear about it. They're very honest about it. They've said it for decades, for 47 years out of Iran. And we need to understand this is not a war against Israel. It's not a war for land. It's not a war for oil. This is a war of theology. And we are the last line of defense, but we need to strengthen the first line, which is Israel. This is not Bibi's war. This is America's war. This is the fight against America, against all of the West.
Have about a minute left, and I definitely want to touch on this. In this case, you are a rabbi, a man of God, whom I assume is committed to peace. And so with that being said, how can one justify, in your case, yourself, and how can you call all people of faith to justify this war as well?
I think it's a pretty simple understanding. There's a Torah portion, a portion of our Torah, which actually says when you go to war, what is the goal? The goal of war is for us is peace. It's not victory. And you need to go to war in order to achieve peace. We need to have this war so that we can have a lasting peace in that region and in the world. Without it, they will use nuclear weapons if they have them. We know they used chemical weapons on their own people. They've used illegal fragmentation bombs and missiles. This is something that we need to do in order to create peace, which is really the most important goal and the most important quality that we need. Either you have peace for everyone or you have peace for no one. For peace, we need to do this.
One of the many topics, yet again, sir, that I would expect you to discuss on the Rabbi's Table, your new podcast.
Thank you. We do. It's about dialogue, not debate. You can find it on all the podcast platforms. We just started a few weeks ago. We've had the ambassador to Israel. We have Dinesh D'Souza coming on, Tommy Robinson, different people. And you can find it at any platform. And thank you for making that shameless plug. I appreciate it.
Of course. Yet again, we've been speaking with Rabbi Michael Barclay, kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. All right, folks, we'll take our first break. Hey, on the flip side of that break, D.C. celebrating Emancipation Day will do so unlike any other. Next, right here on the Live Zone. We'll be right back.